Hey, good morning, traders. Welcome to the All Markets webinar. This is Bruce at Bookmap. Hey, good morning. And we're going to go through the order flow analysis, live analysis here using Bookmap so that you can read it in real time and understand it in real time. We can always look at hindsight. That's easy. And try to make heads and tails of things. But in the real market and real time adds a lot more value. We'll look at any market you guys want to that we can connect to. Just let me know. Let's go over the disclosures. All Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and digital currencies involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. For those of you over on Discord, or if you guys are interested in our Discord channel, we have quite a few people over there taking advantage of our free education and our chat rooms. If you want to join, we request that you take your phone out and take a screenshot here of the QR code here to unlock more functionality, and also to not only input your email but also your license key in the Bookmap Discord. This will offer you offers us the ability to add more functionality to our users, as well as knowing that we're replying to users that are using Bookmap and not wasting time or efforts here. So we're asking this because we think it will enhance the experience for those using Bookmap. It's even if you have the free version, it's fine. Just sign up for the free version, and you get access to beta programs, free add-ons, and other freebies would be included in this as well. So that's why we're requesting it. We think it's better for everybody, basically. All right. All right, let's jump in here let me show you where that what it looks like in the end here. The form. Hold on, and I'll put the link into the chat for you as well. Okay. All right. So here's the form, and you can see just very, very simply, add your email. Let me put this into the chat for you guys. There you go. And also in Discord, guys. Oh, it looks like Dan already put it in there. Thanks, Dan. And just add your email here. Part 2, add in your username from Discord. It's not the one on the top, it's the one underneath, as Dan has pointed out here. And then number 3, go to About or Help in Bookmap. Go to About. And you can copy your license key right here with this tool. Just click on the copy and then provide your license key here and submit it. Okay, should take you all about 30 seconds or so, and then you should have a better experience over in Discord, and that's the goal. All right, so anyway, let's move on. Let's look at the S&P E-mini and see what's going on. We can review Fridays and the non-farm. We saw some really good things on non-farm. We saw the reversal take shape, and it went the rest of the day long. We were just looking for it to go back up to some of the areas where it dropped during non-farm, but it went up to it and through it. So a lot of buying pressure. We closed at all-time highs. And let's take a look at today and what's going on. All right, let's look at the bigger picture first. Okay, so here's our daily over on the left-hand side, and then our hourly in the middle, and our 15-minute here on the right. Now, what do we see? Well, it's an inside day. It was a huge day on Friday, as you can see. And then today, well, we're opening up in the middle. And in fact, there's a bit of a gap here on the hourly and 15-minute. And you can see where we've tested here. Structurally, we would look for exactly this retest down here. If we see some momentum coming into the market on the sell side, to test down here. Maybe there's there's going to be a point of control or most traded level in here. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I see 49.50 here. The figure is probably around in there. We also have a swing right here on the hourly, around 52.5 or so. So if we still see momentum on the sell side, then that's where we'd be looking for it to go. So in fact, let's mark that up here in Bookmap. Okay, so we'll just use the line tools in here. Our horizontal line, 52.5, right there. Whoop, that's 51, and then here's 50. Okay, so there's the figure, and then let's move this one back up a bit. Somewhere like that. All right. So yeah, looking for these areas to be tested if we see more selling pressure. So far, so good. We see the selling coming at the open, or I'm sorry, we had data here at 10 o'clock. Here was our, we had actually looked like some data here at 9:45, then 10, and we can see the selling coming in. Okay, so here's high liquidity at 60, looking for our sellers to hit the bid into this liquidity here, 56, 55. Okay, and then we've got our line down here at our 52.5. Right, so still looking for that continuation on the sell side. That's what we see in the order flow right now. Okay, nothing more than that. Okay, sellers moving that market. Here's our pullback. Sellers moving that market. Bit more of a pullback, a bit more of buy volume, but again, more selling coming in. Okay, so we're still looking for sell side here. Okay, now it's not a trade recommendation. It's just an order flow reading. Okay, beautiful little pullback into this 60 liquidity. Sellers coming in, and then let's see if they can break the swing low here into this 55 liquidity and below. There we go, beautiful. And there's our move into 55. Still looking for more, 52.5, our line down here, our swing, something like that. Okay, a bit of a pullback. Look at the pullback, guys. You might want to take some off actually after that move. Just some. Here's why. Look at the pullback in here. It's not so low volume. There's some buy volume in here. Okay, so there's risk, right? So we captured the move on the downside here from around I don't know, 57 and 3/4, 57.5. Down into 55 and 53.5, and then now we're starting to see some buying coming in. All right, now it's not a whole lot, but it's a little different than a low volume pullback. I mean, you can see, it's there's some buying in here. All right, so just put it that way. And at that point, we want to reduce some risk, or you want to stay with the downtrend. It already gave us something pretty nice. Take some off, hold the rest, stop at break even, looking for the continuation. All right, so that's a consideration for the management in here. All right, let me see if there's any questions on that. That's a quick order flow move here that we're talking about. Anyway, we'll look at some of the higher time frame stuff here too as well. Okay, and then we'll get into this question about the absorption indicator immediately after that. Hey, Alan. Yeah, I know we see you there. Okay. Now, see, guys, why we wanted to take some off in there. Like, notice that behavior in here. Okay, and then we're still sell side here, but it's different than a low volume pullback, and that's the distinction there. All right. All right, let's look at that higher time frame in here. Okay, so we were looking for down to this swing. We haven't quite gotten down to it yet, but that would be the target. Maybe a little bit lower, our point of control. So really right now, there's nothing more to do. You're just kind of waiting and watching for this continuation in here, and it's pretty good momentum on the downside so far. All right, what about the daily in here? Well, we can come all the way down to this 25 swing, and that would be the low from Friday. So there's a lot of room in here. There's a pretty big candle on Friday. Okay. All right. So here's our move into our first level. Okay, and still looking for more here, and it's trading through it. So looking for a 50. There we go. There's 50. Okay. Anyone have a point of control on this from Friday? Want to put into the chat? I'm just kind of curious. What I would say it's probably around 50, but I just don't have that data. If we want to get exact with it, it's probably right around here though. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go. Let me take a step back here. In this cluster here. So I'm sorry, not point of control, but high volume node within this cluster. So if we can go through this cluster in here on some volume, the next level would be down to here, the swing, and maybe even somewhere in this range in here. There's going to be a lot of. This is definitely going to be a low volume node in here, right? So yeah, if we can get that continued momentum here, and so far so good. We're looking for maybe the bottom of this little cluster to the top of this cluster here, this bigger cluster. Let me outline that a little bit better in here. Right. So we're just looking for these two clusters here, right? So it's probably somewhere around in here. Then we're looking at the top of the range here. Or there's a whole kind of little range in here, to be honest, but that's going to be our low volume node. So let's see if we can continue on down to maybe this 82-ish, 83-ish area somewhere here. There's also some wicks in here, as you guys can see. So, somewhere around in here. Hey, Stan, good morning. All right. All right, guys, so we're through it, as you guys can see. So we're still seeing that downside pressure here. Okay, so we would have taken some off here. The rest has been pretty much risk-free after that. And how's it looking so far? Well, again, some pretty nice volume in here on the buy side, just starting to come in now. So this was what we saw. Let's just go back and revisit this. All right. So this was the volume we saw in here previously, and that was a little different. So and it is different now. It never made above the structure here. So structurally, this held true still. And we see more selling does come back in. So we weren't really looking for taking some off here at the 53.5. It would be more like the 50 level. Yeah, maybe continue to look for. We didn't see much. This is what I want to say. We didn't see much buying in here yet, right? We're starting to see some now, though, come back in. All right, so some back and forth is now probable. Or possible, more possible, I should say. Okay, and starting to break a trend line here. All right, so we're not out of the woods at all. I mean, the buyers they don't seem too engaged yet at all. But we're starting to just note the transactions and also liquidity getting filled on the bid on the way down. Okay, what does the offer look like? Well, they're still pressing on the offer in these areas here. So what's the reaction? Look at this our liquidity come in here around this 46 level. We're still finding sellers. Okay, so still looking for sell side here, but we're just noticing these things in here, and trying to ascertain when we might see buyers try to take control, or at least see the battle start to be unfold here on the buy side. It looks more like profit taking to me, but anyway. So still more sellers, and let's see it sellers. You can hit into, let's see, where's our high time frame in here? Yeah, okay, so we've kind of come down to the bottom of this range already. Yeah, guys, for me, that would be enough. That would be a pretty good target down here for me. Maybe we still get continuation down to 33 here, but this has given us a lot, and I would be taking some off. Okay, maybe exiting the position at this point. Okay, so I have my higher time frame range, and now what do I have in terms of my order flow? Well, I mean, order flow wise, they're on the offer up here. We don't see buyers tangling with it yet, and on the bid is down at these lower levels here. In fact, let's look at our 33. Yeah, you can see quite a bit down here at this 33 level. Okay, so maybe that's the overall target, but look at the transactions within the structure here. So the structure is starting to crack, at least on the kind of lower time frame structure. Okay, so we might get a pullback to, I don't know, back to 50, something like that. Okay, let me now let's go over this absorption indicator. So there's a question here by PMAG. Right, so let's add it to the S&P here. Take market pulse off for now. All right, so PMAG. Now, what we're going to show here, let me just go through it in general. The indicator is very simple, and it does not rely on order book depth. Okay, so let me explain what it's doing. Is very simply put here, if within 0.010 seconds the traded volume was greater or equal to 85 contracts, mark the chart. That's it. Okay, so that means that what this is showing though here was the absorption part is the seller here. So if a transaction was met, okay, but here it is here. We can just zoom in. We can see a nice one in here. Okay, so this much traded very, very quickly. Here's our buyers, the aggressors, but it traded within that area very, very quickly. We're going to show it as we know that it's being absorbed, right? That the other side is absorbing it. Okay, so we're not showing the aggressors. We have the green dot for the aggressors. Instead, we're showing how quickly these transactions took place and were absorbed, because it's only showing one price level. And that's the key here with the absorption indicator. All right, so this is aggressive buying, but the other party is taking a trade as well, and that's what we're showing here as absorption. I hope that makes sense. Well, it even if it goes through this area, it still holds true that if you just understand what the indicator is showing, within whatever your settings are, within 0.010 seconds, more than 85 transacted. That's it. Okay, so it went through it, so it's not really absorbed, but it was at that price level at that time, and we see a couple of different points here in absorption. So this is a good sign. In fact, in an uptrend, okay, or in this small move to the upside here, we're in a bigger downtrend. Okay, well, we just saw that it being absorbed in here. And, you know, we already know that the heat map is here. Okay, and we can see that it just confirms, really, in this case, it's really confirming the heat map. Here, let's just use this tool and hover over. So, we have 200 contracts here. We have 194 contracts here. And we know that they are transacting. Okay, so here's 151, here's 174. So we know that this liquidity here in the heat map levels, they are transacting. There's some really good stuff in just this small little example here. But no, it can't be partial. It just is as simple as that. It just, within that time frame, this much traded. That's it. Doesn't matter if there's a heat map here or not. Okay, we just know that there must be, though, another party on the other side must transact with that buying, because it took place very, very quickly on the same price level. Okay, now here's another example down here, and let's just take a look at the liquidity at this level here. So here we have 95 in the order book. Okay, over here it's how many? 95 in the order book. So maybe and how much transacted in here? 45, 25, 19. Maybe we have a few icebergs in here. So what this can give us insight into is potential icebergs. And we have the iceberg detector here, and we don't have any, but we can look for that as well. Sometimes you might not see high liquidity on the offer, and yet you get this pink number with the absorption. Okay, and if you do, and you don't see much liquidity in there, it might be an iceberg. Okay, it is most likely an iceberg. Right, so it's kind of a way to potentially see icebergs as well. It definitely confirms them. Here we can see the iceberg here, and that's on the buy side, right? So in here, this is the absorption in here, and we don't see much liquidity here, right, at this price level. How much liquidity do we have here? 55 contracts, yet 123 transacted. So how is that possible? Well, it is because of the hidden orders, right? So that's what's happening in this little area here. Do you have any questions on that, PMag? Okay. Excellent. So, and that's on the buy side here. So we're showing here it is the passive absorption, though, but you know that by the way it's green or pink here, below or above the price levels. That's going to give you the insight. Okay, so this is selling. This is buying. Right, that's it. Now the sweeps is the opposite. The sweeps is about the aggressor and on more than one price level. Okay, so let's just go over the sweeps really quickly. Here, let me put in 85 as well. See, now there's only one little difference in here between sweeps and absorption. It is exactly the same indicator, except that this one here, minimum price levels. 2 or more. So there must be 85 that transacted on at least 2 price levels here within this time frame, this small time frame. Okay, so that would be, it would sweep through that liquidity is what we're saying, or what we're looking for. All right, and see how we don't get a reading here for it. Okay, because it doesn't fit the picture. So let's zoom out a little bit more, and we'll see it. I guess it's too high of a setting. Let's bring it down. Let's look at 50. Okay, and it makes sense because this was absorbed, a high level of liquidity absorbed or transacted at only one price level. So we're looking for now 2 or more price levels. and we're still not getting any outputs here. So if we put in 25, we'll get something. We should get something. Oh, yeah. Play around with the visuals. So yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, okay. So now you can see it. Actually, we can bump it up quite a bit. Let's put back in 49 here and see what it does. So it filtered out some. Okay, so that's the distinction in here. All right. Let's take a look at a sweep. All right, and now what I want to do next is show you this with well, yeah, here you can see, like, you know, it's matching the absorption here, but it happened within this time frame, okay, 0.010 seconds, over 2 price levels. Therefore, you're getting the output for sweeps as well. See how the absorption only goes up to this level, and then it didn't meet the criteria here for the sweep. You know, if there was more absorbing here, though, it would have made it. Okay? And you would have seen the pink line match it as, or the pink output match the dark green as well. Okay, but in this case, it happened over 2 price levels, and that is a book sweep. Okay, there was a lot that traded over 2 price levels here very, very quickly. Okay, this is actually a good example of the distinction between the two. Right, understanding what it's doing, because these are all equal here, except that the output for the sweeps is for the next price level, and it met the criteria here. All right, do you have any questions on that, PMAG? Is it pretty clear? Okay, so one is we're saying it's the sell side absorbing. The other one is the aggressors trading into that liquidity but through it. Okay, because it has to be at least 2 price levels or multiple price levels. Okay, great, excellent. Well, you know, the next step is that I don't think I have it added in here, but would be to go through the market pulse. Oh, I do have it. Great. Okay, so let me show you now, and this is a great transition with sweeps and absorption. Let me take the sweeps off here for a minute, and I'll show you. Take them all off for a moment. Let me take the sweeps off. Okay, so we're going to show absorption. Now there's a little bit of a trick. I'll come back in here. To use this with Market Pulse, you cannot use the automatic mode. Okay, because it will continually update the Market Pulse tool for absorption or for sweeps. Right now, this is a great tool with sweeps and absorption. Now you see how I can't select this any longer because it's based off the inputs here of 30 minutes and a multiplier. Standard deviation interval, a standard deviation multiplier of 5.5, and it shows you that it's 78 here, and I cannot change that. It's grayed out. Okay, I can change it by changing the inputs here, and then you'll see now it's 116, right? So it works much better for the sweeps and absorption. Let's put 75 back in here. It works much better. It will work with the automatic mode, but I highly recommend that you don't because you want to put in one number, one output, and then you're going to get your sweep. You're going to get your market pulse on that as well. All right, so now let's take stops and icebergs off for a moment. All right, and we're going to add the absorption market pulse tool. Okay, so now this is really great. I really like it, what the developers did here. This is going to be a market pulse tool here on absorption. Okay, and we can do absorption pressure or absorption imbalance. Let's do imbalance. It's easier to understand. It's just buy minus sell, and we'll bring the volume down. and we're going to click play. Okay, that's it. So now what this is going to show here, as it populates, okay, and it shows it in subchart. Yeah, there's only two input, or really two input criteria here, half-life and training period. So what this is doing is an indicator based off of an indicator, essentially. And what it's showing here is like all of these areas of absorption, or on the buy side or sell side, it will add those up, buy minus sell, and if it goes over percentage threshold, in this case it's 70%, you will hear Market Pulse ping, and it here is where it pinged on the sell side. Okay? And you can see it, the little green areas, it went over 70% in here. Okay, right now we're not getting an output, but there's nothing really going on, is what we're starting to read from this, because we're not getting too many absorption or sweeps right now. So you know, you kind of have, this one's kind of interesting because you have to wait around for it, and because this will pull back to zero when there's no transactions in here. So here's why, because we have the half-life period in here. Okay, the half-life period, every 10 seconds it will go half the distance back to zero. All right, makes sense. So we'll get more if we add the, you know, a higher half-life period in here for sure. Yeah, so now we can see a bit more. See, I was just taking longer to go back to zero. All right, so great. So anyway, you know who's been using this a lot is DNT Matter, okay, in our Discord. In fact, he's part of the Bookmap Academy. He just went up. He just was graduated to the academy, so he's getting Bookmap for free at this point. And he's using this. He's been playing around with it a lot, and he's found it extremely useful. I have too. I found it very useful, both sweeps and absorption. So you know, you're really starting to understand, like, okay, there's a lot of sellers up in here absorbing. And absorbing that buying in here. Remember how we left off earlier? We're looking for the move. Let's see, we've gone through our 50 level. We kept going down. We looked at our higher time frame here. We were looking at the bottom of this range in here, and then I was saying I would be interested in taking some profits down here. All right, so, and then maybe see a retracement back to 50 or so. Okay, and that's pretty much what is done. But this is how you can use that tool, though, is to understand that now we've moved back into this area here, and we're seeing a lot of absorption on the sell side in here. Here it is in front of us with the tool, and you see the all these numbers in here, the pink absorption on the sell side, and on the offer, and then that was it. So in fact, if you're starting to see, if you were, you know, trading it back into the range, basically, then, you know, these are good areas to consider taking some profit. Or if you see those sellers start to come back in and they're not absorbing on the buy side, well, we'd look for maybe the continuation or a retest back down here. Didn't get much out of that one, but it did come back down to the bottom of this little range here, you know, just about a point or so. Okay, so a couple points, let's say. But anyway, these are some great ways to use this tool, and take a look at some of DNT Matter's content. He's going through it at a pretty high level. Okay, so here's some absorption here, but it's not making the threshold, right? For this, you see 1% in here, so it's really not, doesn't tell us much. All right, so basically this is kind of like showing the most recent absorption on buy side versus sell side. And that's what this tool in Market Pulse is showing. It's based off of the indicator for absorption. Let me know if you have any questions, guys. I know that it gets kind of complex, but because it is an indicator off an indicator. But that's the power of it, really, seriously. I'm amazed by it. We're able to do this for a few different tools. Okay, absorption, sweeps, and we're coming up with some other ones shortly, soon. They'll be out soon. Okay, see how it's starting to pick up? There we go. There's absorption. Okay, so there's some heavy absorption there, right? Heavy selling, but into, you know, some heavy absorption there. Okay, so and there it is right in front of us. Okay, I don't know if you guys can probably hear it. And in YouTube you can hear it, and it's still absorbing. Look at this. You know, quite a bit, right? So therefore you might want to take some profit there, right? You might consider that. I mean, it's still just pinging, right? So it's telling you, like, you know, this is an extreme here in this small time frame. And still a little bit more. There's still more selling pressure coming in, but this was massive here. Massive absorption. Okay, and the reason this is still pinging in here and across that 70% threshold is because of this reading here. It's starting to slow down a little bit. Okay, because this now is in the past. See where it really picked up in here, and see how it's kind of retraces back, you know, to zero. But because of all of this absorption in here, it basically has been, you know, we've been hearing it ping. Let's go back to our settings in here. Okay, so now it stopped, right? Even though it's going lower, there's less absorption now. This is starting to go kind of out of the calculation, or less of the calculation. Okay, there's other new data coming in. Still absorbing on the way down here quite a bit. So that's why it's still up here. It's just not over the 70% yet. All right. So anyway, now, you know, this is going lower, as you guys can see, and we're getting another reading in here too. However, you know, you would be selling into strength in here, or buying back into strength in here. So, you know, it's still continuing on lower here, but this is just more of kind of a reduced risk. Or where I'm covering it is to potentially reduce some risk along the way. All right, let's take a look at our higher time frame and see where we went. Okay, so we're kind of in the middle of this range in here. We talked about the next area to hit is going to be down here around this 33 liquidity, or the tops from this was on Friday, right? No, that wasn't Friday. That was the 25th or 26th. Of January. Yeah, 25th. Okay, so anyway, yeah, it's a nice area to come down to, and kind of look for a potential target there as well, which matches really nicely with our liquidity here at 33. Yeah, you can hear it, Eloise. Let me turn it down a little bit. All right, so we covered that one in depth here, and these are potential ways to use it. So absorption, sweeps, and then also looking at market pulse absorption. We can also look at market pulse sweeps as well. Okay, same idea. It's just going to be more about the more than one price level. And you know, the reason that let me close market pulse for a moment. And the reason why we have sweeps and absorption in here, I mean, I can just see a lot of people saying it's because, well, you want to sell two two different indicators, and that is totally false. It was actually combined into one to begin with, and we had a lot of traders reach out to us and say we want access to both, not just one or the other. So we split it out because some like the absorption, some like sweeps, some like both, and so that's why we made it into two. And it's not for sale anyway. It's just a part. It's included in your Global Plus subscription. Okay, so that's how you get it. If you guys are interested in that. All right, let me go back to the comments here. You know, I'll be honest. Slow down. So using absorption, like, I mean, if you're at some pretty extreme levels in here, the way that I like to use it is, yeah, reduce some risk at your levels. Like this was a good example right here for me, coming down into here and taking some off. Right, because I'm assuming there's going to be some other traders taking some profit down here as well, and I start to see a lot of absorption down here. Yeah, sure, absolutely. Now, probably a better way to do it though is not only see that absorption, but looking for buyers to start to come in on the other side. And if you do see that, well, then you've got like three different things telling you that there's potential move to the upside. And do you want to hold it? Well, if you're still in the mindset for a bigger move to the downside and you're trading on that time frame, then hold it. Okay, you're trading kind of on medium term or a smaller time frame, then consider taking some off. That's how I would use it. Okay, and like I said, I think this is a pretty good example for me. Hit the top of this range, take some off, or bottom of this range in here on a strong move, see some absorption down here, hit some high liquidity down here, etc. Maybe see a bit of buying starting to come back in. Yeah, looks pretty good. So it's multiple confluences, right? And the tool is helping me get insight to my level. All right. Let's see. Time and sales suggestion here. Can they also look at the time and sales on their chart to see a full amount of trades transacted? Can give me an idea of what full iceberg was. Yeah, I mean, you can look at you could look at the dome or the COB column. You can look at your time and sales and the transactions in certain areas. I don't really do much of that, Alan, since we have the stops and icebergs right here, and I know that there's no guesswork with these. These are native icebergs, and there's no guesswork at all on that. It's just fact. So I just use that. Yeah, but if you want to look at your time and sales in here, there's ways to filter for it. The way that I find the time and sales, like see all these ones going by and you see larger numbers as well. Yeah, sure, you can read the pace of tape in here, but I can see it here as well. I mean, I already know. I can see the transactions come a flurry of activity in here, and then look at the buying activity come in here, right? And now some selling, counter with some selling. Okay, but this doesn't really. I don't find it very helpful. I know a lot of traders do. Maybe filtering it would be a little bit more helpful for me, looking at your time and sales with min size. Or you can look at the opposite side here, show individual trade events that are 10 or greater. Now watch, as soon as I do that, it means the other side of this trade has to be 10 or greater. And it really filters it out. Okay, you see how much slower it's going now? Okay, that means that let's suppose you hit a market buy order in here, Alan, for like 200 lots. Okay, well, the way that is going to transact is maybe it'll be one lot, 5 lot, 2 lot, 10 lot, until that is it is totally totally traded. That's when we see like an order book sweep. Same idea, right? And you'll see that fly through here in the time and sales. Now, if you want to show the individual trade events in here, it means that the other side of that on the passive side has to be 10 or greater. All right. So and then that's going to really slow things down quite a bit. All those little 1 lots flying through, 2 lots, it has to be 10 or greater now on the other side. Okay, so like if I don't have that, you'll still see, the I'm sorry, let's go like this, and we can do 10 here. See how it's like you'll see this kind of fly through still quite a bit, right? Because it doesn't have to be on the other side. It could be added all up in an aggregate. So that 200 lot that is piecemealed all together, you'll see this, it meets the criteria of 10 or greater. I mean, time and sales and I think can be really helpful as well. Reading the size that's coming in and the pace of the tape, the flurry of activity in here. Is it buy side? Is it sell side? This can be give you a lot of insight. I just find that the volume dots and the flurry of activity in the volume dots is the same thing, right? Like here's some exhaustion here. I know that because there's not too much selling or buying up here. Now I'm looking for sellers to come in, bottom of the range, right? In this case, take some off on a very small time frame, take some off, but hold, because I'm looking for it to come on down lower to maybe this swing here at 40.5 or maybe 39.5. Right? Trying to go with the bigger trend, right? So here's some selling, exhaustion, take some off, stop at break even. I would have been stopped out. Okay, and I'd be flat. Right now, there's so many different ways to slice and dice it. Always, this is just a quick little example in here that we're looking for this kind of turnaround, and sell side, we see the pullback here, and then into high liquidity in these areas in here, right? And then we see some selling starting to come back in, and then we see the exhaustion here. Right, so I would trade it back down to just the bottom of the range here, and then manage it at that point. Okay, so now we're just finding more buyers. Okay, they're able to take it up higher here. Right, so where might they go? Well, let's take a look here. Looks pretty good right in here at this area. So let's put a line in. That's right around our 45 level. Something like that. Okay, and almost there. Yeah, JTrader likes the time and sales. Yeah, he likes to see that kind of pace of the tape. We will have another market pulse tool for pace of tape. soon. I just note that that's going to be very different than volume. So it's the frequency. You want to take a look at NQ? Sure. You can take a look at NQ. Let's jump over. Nice move from below 17,600 here. Okay. Here's another little cluster in here. See this one, Alan? I know you see it, but yeah. Zoom in here a little bit. Right, so we're kind of looking at this as a zone in here, and maybe this one in here as well. Okay, let me put a couple lines on it then. Here and then here. Okay, for potential pullbacks, right? Okay, so we're through that one already, so we can get rid of those two lines. So we're looking for this one up here. Okay, and then if it can continue, that we look for the next one would be above 1600 or 17,600 would be up here at 09. Okay, so just coming up into that now. All right, let's watch this then. Okay, still quite a bit of buying. Okay, well, we dipped our level into our level, and you can see that already had a little bit of a pullback here. I think we'll get another retest back up here, though. Most likely. All right, well, we kind of wait for that one. Let's take a look again at our higher time frame in here. Okay, so anyway, guys, it was basically what we covered in this webinar so far has been it was a momentum move back down into well, it was the top of this range here, the point of control. Was it the top? 50, yeah, 55. We're up looking around 58 or so, I believe. I can't recall. And then point of control, and then bottom of the range in here, right? And then managing it through that area. Okay, we went through it here, but we have not come back down to this level at 33. The momentum is still to the downside here, very clearly on the hourly and the 15-minute. Okay, but we're going to get some pullbacks and you know, different movements in here. Still, that liquidity though on that higher time frame in the ES is down here at well, we see two levels, 33 and down here around this 23 level or 24. Yep, and just kind of stalling out at the moment, not really seeing a whole lot. Some buying, a big cluster of buying just now, but failed to kind of move the market. And any other questions? Alan, what's the difference between trap sellers and responsive buying? Okay, so let's cover that. So responsive buying is basically within a range, and in your auction market theory, you know, you've got your range, okay, and at the bottom of the range in here, basically, this is oversold. Okay, so you'd want to bring it back into value, which would be, you know, you can see the value area right here, right? So, and the responsive sellers, they'll be up here, selling to this back into value. And now trap trading or trap traders would be like maybe it peaks above that area and you get breakout traders. And this would be a lot like what slowdown is looking at. You get that move back up above this area in here and it fails. Okay, so let's actually see if this fails here. Okay, we're getting our buyers in here, so quite a bit of buying, So this, if this fails, it'll be a nice failure. Now this would be your trap traders if we can get sellers here on this side, right? So it explored outside of that range, and then it comes back into the range. It rejects the breakout, and then we're looking for our responsive sellers as well to trade back into the range. So it's just doing it right now, and then maybe to the other side of the range as well. Okay, so what's nice about this move in here, and this is slowdown's setup, right? So what's nice about this move in here is you've got this fuel that these buyers, these breakout buyers here, are going to have to be sellers. And their next step is to be a seller, or they're going to have to be a seller at some point. And likely as it goes against them, they'll be a seller. Anyway, in this case, we got the move back down to here. Okay, and look at the response here by these responsive sellers in here. They were successful in moving it back into the range, okay? But it's bouncing off of the value area, and we're still finding more buyers back up here. Okay, so now these buyers, they're not really trapped any longer, are they? So actually, they might be in control now. If we can get a few more buyers in here, now they can lift it and move it away from this value area, and then we'd be looking for something like this like even a measured move. Okay, so we can take this and then take that and try to bring it up. Now, where might it go? Okay, well, up to the top of this range up in here might be good. Somewhere up in here. Okay, now this back and forth looked like it was probable in here. Not anymore. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's bouncing off of this area in here on this kind of this little area that we had marked up. And if we still get more buyers in here that want to move it outside of the range, then and it looks like we're finding them. This is our third test up here now. Okay, well, what do we have on our side here? Well, we have these volume clusters in here, okay, and it is trading outside of the range, but it's failing to so far break that this small little range in here so far. Okay, well, here's some exhaustion. Okay, now we've got something. Now I would love to see this order book on the bid go higher. Love to see these guys pull on the offer and find these aggressive buyers in here. Now we're kind of getting some of that. We're getting some of, they're not really pulling. It's looking better though. It's starting to develop. So we'd look for these buyers to try to push it higher up into 46 and then maybe 48. Okay, it's just really not that great of a setup though right now. You can see a little bit of liquidity here on the bid, and it's nothing really to shout about though. Okay, so it's just not the greatest one. It might do it, it might not. Um, there now we can see how it's a little late on that one, but this is what we were looking for earlier. Okay, it was set up for this direction. We didn't have the bid. We got the bid. We got the aggressors, and now we're up at 46. Okay, and through 46. Let's see if we can get a bit more, and then get back up to 48. So right now we're between the range of high liquidity here. That's still in here now when they came in. So it looks like they want to buy at 45. And then up here at 46 3/4. Okay, well, we found them. Now, can they trade through that? There's some high absorption, 207. Okay, we're still finding buyers here. We see a skew in the book as well. Okay, so let's see if we can get up here a little bit further, and I'm looking for more buyers to lift it higher. Okay, so looking for this to move away now from our range in here, right? So this whole evolution here we saw unfold. Okay, so there's our move now to 48. All right, so now what do we see here so far? Well, this was kind of our target. I don't know, like, I'm still looking for it to go higher here. I see they're still pulling here on the offer. I don't really see them adding on the bid, and we're still finding some buyers in here. Okay, so maybe 50. Maybe it's got to retrace back to 50 here, right? And then hit this liquidity up here at the figure. Right, see how we had our target in here? This is something noteworthy. Our target that we had kind of outlined was based off of the market structure, but it was the order flow here. We still had it as a target. We had a measured move. We had a whole bunch of things here, but the order flow told us to kind of stick with it, right? And then, as you guys know, I like to kind of front run this high liquidity in here, so I would be getting out here around this 49.5. Okay. Yeah, so the responsive part is we can look it up. The guys, just look it up and Google it. Like from what I understand about responsive selling and buying versus like the impulse move, which would be the initiating buying and selling. Okay, and moving it away from an area, a new move. Okay, and initiating that move. All right, let's take a look at this bigger picture now in the ES and see what's going on. This is pretty nice buying in here, actually, in the bigger picture. I'm going to take the absorption off for now, and we'll also close the market pulse tool. Okay, and we'll look at stops and icebergs instead. All right, so now this is what we saw like on Friday. Okay, this is pretty good buying. So they're still moving it here. Okay, up to the top of this range here at 50, back to 50. Okay, now this is pretty heavy selling here earlier. Now let's just take a look at the bigger picture in here and the relative volume, right? So here we have our sellers. Okay, we have our delta bars down here as well. Here we have our buyers. Then we have our delta bars, our dots and our bars. Okay, they're delta dots as well. Okay, now still more selling in here than buying. Okay, so on Friday, we saw like it was the opposite. There was a lot more buying over in here after that non-farm. That's why we were looking for the move to continue on Friday. Okay, so the now here though, the relative volume in here is kind of mixed, so we're not really looking for too much. Yeah, I mean, I guess I always understood it as you know, selling it back, kind of mean reversion trade. You're responsive buying and selling. But if it's profit taking as well, I mean that makes good sense. You know, they respond to that move to the outside, but also just trading it back to value. It's overvalued or it's undervalued. Okay, so here, let's just take a look. I don't want to look at LinkedIn. Investopedia would probably be the best, right? You got to be careful with Investopedia though too. All right, let's just go to Investopedia. I can't find it in Investopedia. What gives? Why can't I find it? Has this been much more commercialized here or something? I don't quite understand. I used to be able to find this immediately. Well, let's try it one more time here. All right, we'll go to this LinkedIn profile here, I guess. Yeah, see, like this is exactly what the way I kind of looked at it as well. Very similar to this guy here. So your sell zone in here, responsive sellers, responsive buyers. Anyway, it's all, as long as we get the concepts in here, that's what matters. Not so much the definitions, but understand the concepts of trading it back into a range because it's overbought or oversold, or is some profit taking. But the profit taking is only, it's not going to necessarily move it back into the range. there has to be sellers selling it to sell it back into the range, right? And moving the market, right? And those are people are going to that's your mean reversion trade, Alan. That's it. Trading it back to a previous value area. It's as simple as that. Anyway, guys, yeah, I mean, I think FT71 has it defined. We may have defined it on our glossary as well. I think I've avoided a lot of the repeating stuff that others continually cover, so I didn't really add it in a lot of times. All the auction market theory stuff, not a lot of it I didn't, just because it's already out there. Instead, we're going to cover spoofing, layering, absorption, exhaustion, that a lot of other people don't cover. That's why, here, let me show you where our glossary is, okay? And it might be in there too. But we'll just go to the knowledge base here. And then we can look up the glossary. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, I avoided it. But anyway. Yeah, thanks, Stephen. You found it. But anyway, so look, here's this. Just we'll end it on this one in here. Now this is a little different than on Friday, where it was just hitting us over the head, hand over fist. Like, there was a lot of buying coming in. That's why we were looking for it to come back up to, let's suppose this was the move from non-farm up here, right? So we saw it was just massive, like double the amount of selling. So therefore, we're looking for coming up to here, and the next step would be up to here. And it didn't take long. I was really surprised. We got up to here pretty quickly, and then it continued further after that, quite a bit further. But we had our reasons, we had our measured moves. We were looking for the move up to here within our time frame. Here, what's going on? Let me get rid of all the lines in here. Hold on. Here, what we have right now is kind of equal, but there's still more selling, So we've kind of peaked up above the swing here, and there's not a whole lot of buying in here. Now, we don't know what's going to happen. Like, all of a sudden, there could be a ton of buying. If it does come in, and we notice that, you're looking for it to come back up into the next levels, okay? Look for the liquidity, look for the structure, okay? 60 looks pretty good. Now, that said, what we look for first is, can price move up to the top of the range in here? And then it doesn't matter if it's on low volume or not. Okay, typically we like to see it on low volume, and then we look for the sellers to come in, because it might break this, but usually, typically, sellers remain in control and buyers are not willing to take it higher. Okay, and then you'll get the sellers come in and move it, back down into either the range, other side of the range, or continuation of the trend. So that's typically what we look for. Now, a lot of times we can see price come back up to these swings up in here, and it just doesn't matter if it comes up here on low volume or not. What matters is the volume after that. And if we get big volume in here, price will move away. Okay, so this is really kind of a testing ground in here, and it can be kind of tricky in that regard. Okay, because there's a lot of people in here going, oh, of course it's gonna, there's all this selling in here. it's going to turn around and go back down. But in this case here, this is what it's doing. We're still able to see buyers back up above it. Now, not a whole lot, right? They may exhaust out and we may see a false breakout and then see sellers come in here and then move back down, right? We don't really have much right now to take a look at. We do know that there is buying back up above it, so we start to look for the next areas for it to test. Okay, we said 60. Let's zoom in here a little bit further. Maybe around this 55 level. We saw that in the move down earlier when the webinar started, right? We were looking somewhere around in here. Yeah, somewhere around in here, I believe, for that move. The move lower. So anyway, and now you can see some of the selling starting to come in, right? So a little bit of back and forth in here now, right? We have the European close coming up, and we don't really have too much to go on here at the moment. Okay, so it tested into that high liquidity up here, barely tested into it, and then we see the sellers. Okay, so sellers dropped it down into this liquidity, and let's see if they can drop it down further. Now we're already at the top of this range here. I don't know, maybe they can drop it down to about 48. Anyway, let's see. All right, let's just kind of recap a little bit. And we're looking at a little more higher time frame stuff today. So we had our kind of impulse move, or this momentum move to the downside, and starting to see that unfold. Looking for taking some off along the way, and then looking for the bottom of this little range in here for a great area to take some profit. If it can continue, it would be, there's going to be a light volume in here from the previous days. So this would probably be the next target, would be that 33, and the liquidity is down there at 33. So on the 15-minute chart, you can see how it kind of, this is where it slowed down and kind of, had a little bit of back and forth, and we see some small candles in here, and then it extended. Okay, this was on Friday. So this was the, to see a retest back down into here it makes good sense, right? And especially with that cluster from the previous day. Right, so sellers still moving it though. Don't see a whole lot of buying coming back in on the hourly, nor on the on any of them at this time. Not to say that they may or may not. We just don't see it yet. So we're going to look for that selling to come in here again. Okay, so we look for that potential pullback down to about 48, which has unfolded already, and we'll probably see it bang around in here for a little bit. It doesn't look too decisive at the moment. Okay, oil is going down. Okay, so yeah, you might see the S&P go down as well. All right. So let's wrap it up. Call it a day. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. We'll catch up with you tomorrow, and curious to see what how this plays out the rest of the day. Okay, so don't forget the sign up pair your Discord username with your email and your license key in here. Just, you can use your phone. You can do it off of your phone with the QR code that I was showing earlier here. Yeah, so this will make for a better community here. That's our goal. And you'll get more access to other things as well. All right, so we'll catch up with you tomorrow. Thanks everybody for coming, and yep, have a good trading day. Take care. Bye bye.